Hello, everybody, and welcome to a Spark of Genius Flesh and Blood production. This is going to be one of those multi-part series here because we are, believe it or not, we are not behind the ball recording all these spoiler reviews. But I was busy writing about 20 plus pages of review notes and points for all of these cards to give an actual rating, to give some more detail into the card. So this is not just like, hey, this is the card. Oh, it looks cool. Like the goal here is we're trying to give a more holistic review than that based on what we know at the time. We're currently recording this Friday evening Eastern Standard Time, and so based on that knowledge, we look at the other cards, we look at the interactions, and we see how good can these cards be, and for what reasons. And so the first video is going to be essentially chronological, so it's going to be based on the release timing. It's going to start with even bigger than that, and the very last one for the heroes, we're going to do all of them at the very last one, because the heroes, I feel like you can't really do it properly if you don't get the majority of your spoilers out, because otherwise you don't really know all the interactions that might be coming. So we're going to be doing this multi-part because nobody wants to sit through like a 3-hour video, and if you do, that's okay. All of this will be on Spotify too, in case you prefer listening to part of it on Spotify, and we'll have timestamps for all the particular cards. If there's one card you'd like to have mine and Rob's thoughts on specifically. I'm joined by my co-creator, co-commentator, co-compatriot, Mr. Rob, as always. And for this one, I guess we could just start off right off the bat. Even bigger than
jump
that.
Into it,
I was actually pretty excited when I saw this card.
Yeah, me too.
It's an aggro-based card. Big plastic Katsu, Bolton, possibly Chain, aggressive Visceri. It is a rare, so the red one is an opt 1, the yellow is an opt 2, and the blue is an opt 3.
Backwards, yeah. Blue is opt 1, red opt 3.
Sorry.
That would be amazing.
Sorry. The red is opt 3, yellow is opt 2, and blue is opt 1. And so the kind of big points about this card that I want to bring your attention to here: it replaces itself because it draws a card. It's 0 cost instant, so you can play it on your own turn and their turn. It's a really good deck thinner to find key combo cards faster because it recycles itself.
And you can run 9 of these too, so it's kind of like 9 cards that you're drawing kind of through your deck. Yeah.
Yep, you could run 9 of them. The blue 0 cost specifically is great for Katsu. The red and yellows can be good for more options to try to dig more. It creates a quicken token, which I really like to create a larger go wide turn. It won't get around like Spectra because it's quicken just gives it go again, so it's not gonna it doesn't give you an extra action point or something like that. That would be very broken. If that's the case, it wouldn't be a rare. Specifically speaking for Katsu, you can enable like a midpoint combo line where you don't have the opener, so you give the second piece go again. So like a Whelming Gust Wave, you give the Whelming Gust Wave go again. You can also find a combo piece off the opt too, right? And so you can play it anytime in the turn. So if you're coming in with Kodachis, you can do it after your first Kodachi hit, your second Kodachi hit. Doesn't really matter.
So then, importantly too, to mention that you do have to play this after you've played an attack that does have go again already, because the quicken token it resolves after you would play the next attack, right? So if you're playing an attack that did not have go again, playing even bigger than that will not give it go again. Yeah.
No. It will enable the wider line. It won't by itself create a wide line. But the nice thing about things like Kodachi is that it's just turned on for the rest of the turn. It's not like a Kodachi and you have to do it after the first one. And so it doesn't matter if it doesn't depend on if you've broken the chain, which is kind of nice. It doesn't say on the chain; it just says in the turn, which is quite nice.
True. Yeah. And talking about Kodachis too, actually, because Kodachi hits for 1 only, you have a very good chance of drawing a card from even bigger than that, because the condition is that the card has to be higher damage or higher attack value than damage you've done. And who blocks Kodachis, right?
You might block the second one, but you generally
to prevent mass trigger. Yeah. That's right.
And so for Bolton, it's also kind of how I see it is you're punished on leaking 1 damage through things like red take flights and things like that, because Bolton does run a lot of those cheaper attack actions, and it will let you fill your soul faster, because you could actually get a nice soul fill, like a Bold Courage, something off the top, and on your turn 1 be able to potentially, if you have one last card you want to charge with soul, you can pitch, take flight, play this other card, especially if it's set up on turn 2 or something like that, and then you'd have that 1 extra card, and you draw into Bolt of Courage, play the Bolt of Courage, and then charge it with that last card. so you're able to actually ramp up your soul charging.
Hmm.
I don't know. I don't think it's as good in Bolden Katsu, but still pretty good. I can also see it in Azalea and other like wider Lexi builds, but there are
Yeah.
some cons, of course. Doesn't block. Less relevant for cards that don't want to block anyways,
Hmm.
and it only applies for physical damage. So it's not like Viscera. If you
Right.
just like pop a rune chant on Arcane, it won't trigger it.
Right. Could have
It's
applications
limited.
in Benji as well, since Benji's attacks are pretty much
Mhm.
unblockable for the most part. You could run this
True.
and pretty much get a guaranteed card draw off of it.
Yep. No, it's true in Benji. Also, it's limited based on like damage. It's consistent that you have go again that you want to chain because it only leaks one damage. So unless you can combine it with like a reaction like Razor or Ancestral or something like that, the card you can only grab that card based on that amount of damage. So it's not just like any card.
Yeah.
And you can't always grab an attack that does not have go again, not to waste the quicken. So it's like
Yeah.
inefficiency
That's right.
essentially. So
Yeah.
like if you see the go again attack, but you're making the quicken, like you might have to just waste the quicken. So it's not always great.
Yeah.
And there are counters to these like low to the ground red line builds like ice and stuff like that would make
That's true.
this card more expensive.
Yeah.
Overall though, I think I gave this
It's a good
card a
card.
3.5. Yeah, I gave it about a 3.5.
Yeah.
So our scale is basically based on either the rating itself could be based on a specific hero, and then I'll note that if it's overall or for a specific hero. In this case, I gave it a 4 out of 5 for Katsu and Bolton and Benji, and those kind of go wide, specifically Katsu though, and then a 3.5 average overall. The 4 is a good, essentially, and that's based on kind of the upside's quite high and the low side for more aggressive decks isn't as relevant. That's kind of how we look at even bigger than that. Okay, moving on. Next card here, we got Wild Rides. Got a Brute card coming in.
Yeah.
Fresh. This was
Riding the
Radio
hog.
Reflex, right? Yeah, this was a Radio Reflex spoiler, I believe, with Alan and Ian. This is a 2 for 6 in the red. So this is a common or a rare?
It's
I
a
believe
common.
I believe it's a common. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's 2 for 6 in red. Draw a discard. If you hit a 6 power or higher, it gains go again.
Yeah.
Card doesn't block. So pushing that archetype of big attacks that don't block.
Yeah.
How I
Smash with
see it.
big tree.
Yeah. Exactly. Smash a big tree is the big replacement that I see it in. It's like kind of like a cheaper breakneck battery at the common level because there's no additional cost. However, it doesn't block. So like breakneck battery has that
So
like you pitch.
you have a trade-off here where breakneck battery has to discard a card without drawing, so it doesn't rely on you having one more card. That does make it more predictable though, because you're not drawing a random card. You're not drawing a Blood Rush Bellow and then discarding your Blood Rush Bellow. It's like you have a set of cards in your hand. They're all 6. Great, you know you're getting go again for sure. Wild Ride has a bit of uncertainty to it. You might draw a non-6 attack and then discard it, which would suck. But I would say that trade-off of drawing a card might make it easier to combo into. Because you're not losing your hand, as quickly.
Yeah, I do think it's better for Levia because it fills Grave faster because you're drawing and discarding, right? So fills Grave, especially the red one, is a 6 power, right? So it does that for like bigger swings, but it's also decent off the meat axe off the top, right? Because you can just draw discarded as a 6 power. I'm talking about the red mainly here, but
I don't think you'd ever run the yellow or blue, to be honest. I mean, 5 and 6s will not have any applications really in Brute. It compares pretty well. 4 or 5s, I'm sorry. It compares pretty well to Pulping, I would say. Pulping is a non-block 2 for 6 also that has a chance to gain go again. It is a little less consistent because it does depend on how your opponent blocks. So if your opponent blocks with 2 cards, you don't get your go again. You do get Dominate though, which is nice, but Wild Ride just seems kind of like it's on par, but maybe a little less powerful than Pulping, I would say. But you get the option. You get multiple cards that can draw and discard that have 6 power. I think the more tools you give to Brute that do that, the better. It's an okay card in my opinion. Yeah.
I agree. I mean, you can use it in commoner format, unlike Breakback Battery, which is a rare. It's a nice aggressive sideboard to generate more go again, but more reliable than rolling the scabs and seeing if you get the action point. Good synergy with Rally the Rearguard, I guess. I kind of threw that in there just because it has the no blocks. It is a 6 power, so maybe in the future you can run more Rally combos. I don't know.
Make use of the cards to block eventually if you have to.
Decent Blood Rush turns. Like it's decent on a Blood Rush turn. Again, it doesn't block. It doesn't really fit the mid-range control club strategies that Reinhardt can sometimes take in various matchups. It's still very much an element of randomness. Draw and discard.
Yes.
And not very good, especially if they have a D-React, right? So overall, I think we give it a 2 out of 5, which is
I
average.
think that's
It's
fair.
again,
It
it's
might be a tech
fine.
choice if you have no other options, but
Mhm,
overall, there are probably better options that you could pick over this card if you were like looking at a narrow pool.
mhm. No, it's true. Moving on to the next card here. So we're moving into a little bit of weapon and equipment. Arcane Lantern. Now, I just want to say the full art cold foil of this thing is gorgeous, and I will be trying to
Looks
procure one
beautiful.
however I can. So the big piece here is it's an extra arcane barrier source at a equipment slot that never had it before, right? So I'd like to see more varied one-handed weapons to run with this in and
Right.
off hands. So far, the only obvious ones are Guardian with like Titan's Fist, Winter's Wail, things like that.
Right.
But I think a lot of the other one-handed weapons like claws,
You can use
swords,
one claw
maybe
maybe if you're brute. It could be a thing. Man,
yeah, but like the thing is, Brute already has like such good arcane barrier with Skullhorn and stuff like
yeah,
that. It's
you're
like,
right. You might
you
not
really need
need,
this card.
and I don't know what kind of class or hero would compromise their 200-handed weapon for an extra arcane barrier.
It would be ones that already have like a strong one-handed plan,
Right.
like Guardian.
Right. Yeah.
I,
Guardian
I think
seems
I
to
think
be the
there
only
might
one.
be, yeah, I think there might be like room for different like one-handed weapons to come out. Like we know
True.
of daggers, we haven't seen them yet.
True.
Maybe, but it's nice future design space. I do like that it is an extra piece that can come in, especially during Blitz, siding in for arcane matchups, not having to use
True.
your regular 4 equipment slots. So, and CC for matchups to give extra arcane where weapon swings aren't, as important, like in decks that don't really rely on the weapon that much. You can use that extra essentially seamless empty slot beforehand, right? It has, as I said, kind of good synergy off Bravo Oldhim, possibly Valda, I guess, if you're running a hammer there. But you can't use a majority of the weapons, which are two-handed. So I gave it a rating of 3.5, which is good. The main reason is because I think the future design space here is quite
Yeah.
strong. And
Yeah.
I feel like just having that extra arcane and not having to compromise your maybe already like fine-tuned equipment setup in like a CC matchup or in Blitz, again, I really like it as that extra piece there.
Yeah.
Not really compromising any sideboarding, because in Blitz you get your 11 cards anyways, your 11 equipment slots anyways.
Yeah.
Plus a weapon. I don't know if there's anything to add.
No, and just to mention that this is like the first of its kind, right? The first offhand arcane barrier we have, which makes it just by virtue of it being the first, kind of interesting. It's like, well, this is kind of cool. So yeah, nothing else to add.
Rolling on to Knick, Knack, Brick-a-Back, and
Yeah.
when I saw this card, so it's a red 3 cost. I believe it's a majestic red 3 cost.
Yeah.
Block.
You can only
Blocks
have
for
one
2.
one pitch value. Yes, only red. Yeah.
Yeah, so red 3 cost, blocks for 2, non-attack action. It does not have go again. Important to note, does not have go again. Additional cost to destroy. I just put like money, copper, gold, silver.
Yeah, I think it's 4 copper,
2 silver, 1 gold.
You have it. Yeah, you got it.
4-2-1. Yeah.
4-2-1.
Search for at least 1 amulet potion talisman, because you'll get 1 off Knick-Knack, and then you can get extra ones based on how much money you have. Essentially, shuffle and repeat it based on whatever you've destroyed. So this seems like a Genus card. By Genus, I mean like the new Merchant Hero Genus in some kind of item meme deck going on.
I think it depends what we see come out. There have been a lot of amulets come out recently, actually, and there might be something interesting you can pull off here. But I'm thinking like energy potions and the time snaps,
big generics.
Yeah, the ones that we've seen time and time again. Crazy brews.
Crazy brews are the other big ones. So I think it's kind of like for heroes that actually like generate silver from their skill or something like that, or they run like pick a card, which we're going to go over. They're both still luck dependent. However, even out of all the potions and amulets and stuff we saw, a lot of them are just kind of sideboardy. Like I think
like you wouldn't just stack a bunch of these into your deck, right?
No.
Yeah.
I think I think they're not particularly powerful, even if you get a bunch of them out at this point. I don't see them as a win con yet. Like maybe some kind of crazy brute deck, as you mentioned, with like Life of the Party. Or,
I'm thinking like running this, and
stuff.
maybe it's like a brute deck where you want to have like the extra dice rolls to like get more damage with your new gloves, like the new some of the new brute cards we're seeing, maybe to get more crazy brews out. That could be interesting. But I think I'd rather just play Crazy Brew. I don't know if I'd rather play this. And plus I'd have to run the copper, silver, gold engine as well with this card. At face value, with no money in your deck, or no money generation, it's pretty bad. Like, you pitch a blue, play it, get a potion out of your deck, no go again. Blocks for 2, right? So, not amazing.
it could work with like Kasai that has copper
Yeah,
generation,
like
or
built
like
in
warriors because of spoils of war, stuff like
spoils.
that. But there
Yeah,
kind of needs to be more support to make this, more usable. We gave it a 1 bad, but we said it could secretly be broken. We
could
just
be
don't know.
broken. We just don't know how to use it yet.
Yeah,
But
at the
again,
moment, it's a
these
1.
kind of tutor cards that get things out of your deck have, I think, just innate potential in them. Because once something
Mhm.
good comes out, like a new potion that's really good, that costs like, because this omits the cost of the potion as well, I believe. It just says put them into play. So
Yep.
if there's like a
Yep. Yep.
10 cost potion, this can just tutor it out for free. So
Yeah, like Gigantify or something, and just like
something.
makes you get like some +8 or your next
Yeah,
attack
yeah.
just by drinking the potion.
This will open the doors to some crazy stuff.
Yep. The next card kind of that goes with that is the pick a card, any card. I like the artwork on this card. So it's a
It's
zero
cool.
cost non-attack action with go again, blocks 2.
Yeah.
It does come in the red, yellow, blue variety. So for the red variety, it's 0 to 4 silvers. The blue one is 0 to 2, and the yellow is 0 to 3. So you look at your opponent's hand. Depending on your
Right.
luck, you'll get silvers based on how many times you could pick that card. So the
Yeah.
silvers are pitch 3 to draw a card compared to the copper, which is pitch 4.
Mm-hmm.
You could potentially high roll into a bunch of silver to use this with like cash in, draw a bunch of cards. 2 silvers and a cash in would get you 2 cards. The metrics don't really give you an immediate value since it's 25% each time on average. You probably hit a
Right.
card once and get 1
Yeah.
silver on a 4 card hand.
On a 4 card
However,
hand,
it does,
yeah.
yeah, on a 4 card hand. However, this does get better if they block more. So you're not going to be wanting to start with this card. If they block more, it gets a lot better if they have multiple copies of the same card in hand.
Yeah.
Like if they have 2 cards and they're both the same card, well, you're just going to get all
You
the silver,
guarantee
right?
it. Or if they have one card
Yeah.
left in their hand, like if you
Then
maybe
it guarantees it.
yeah, like you kind of pose a really good on hit card where they have to
Mhm.
block with like 2 or 3 cards with a go again somehow, and then you play this to generate 4 silvers, pretty much guaranteed. That's quite good, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the best use is like when they have the 1 card, as you mentioned. Using the silver with like Knick Knack would be like a very specific strategy in
Yeah.
mind. You might want to play it. The only way I see this deck is like combo decks that want to filter a lot. It like reminds me of like those milling decks, but like they're self milling because you want to get to this one big combo and just win the game.
Basically,
Very
like
like
a combo
OTK
deck.
combo-y.
Yeah.
Yeah, preferably in Blitz where the deck size is just lower, right? So you
Right.
don't have as much to go through. Or decks that want to pitch sack for second cycle, then run out combo turns one after another, like a last ditch effort combo turn or something.
Yeah,
Currently
maybe.
speaking, it doesn't sound doesn't sound consistent or easy to build at the moment. However, we're giving the card a 1.5 as opposed to a 1, so it's still bad.
I mean,
Again, it could be broken.
yeah.
However, it has go again, and at least it blocks, so
Exactly.
it's
It's
not
a
awful.
0 non-attack action has go again. Just that just by itself on a red yellow blue cycle is kind of good. I mean, there aren't like too many of those that could just fit into like some kind of Rune Blade deck that we haven't figured out yet. But
Yeah, it's also generic, right? So like your merchants use it, that kind of thing. So
right.
also interesting thing is the interaction with Corsham. I think it would work if Corsham didn't indicate the person revealing gets the benefit. So there could be like future like reveal interactions later. So Corsham actually, based on how I think it's read, is that if you're revealing their card, they get the benefit. You don't get the benefit.
It says like you reveal on the card, right? It depends who's doing the
it's
revealing.
The person, yeah, exactly. It depends on who's doing the revealing. So based on that, I thought it might be a thing, but
Maybe
so that is
eventually.
maybe eventually. So reveal mechanic, kind of big question mark at the moment. Speaking of coppers, we're hitting the next card here, High Striker. I like the art on this card too.
Yeah.
Also the red, blue, yellow variety. It creates a copper for the next attack on hit, either 2, 4, or 6 for the blue, yellow, and red respectively.
Yeah.
Non-attack action, 0 cost, blocks for 2.
Yeah.
So my initial thought here is that it could be for a draw engine with cash-ins or search engine with Knick Knack. The Knick Knack wasn't really the forefront of the idea there, but the potential draw engine with cash-ins, even on something like Kasai, on its own, I don't think it's particularly powerful. Being non-attack means it could be used in like Briar for lightning tokens. Viserai, start building chance after like you start with this non-attack and then you start building chance after. It could be used for creepers as a quick way to get copper because you can creepers it out on the if you know you're going to hit on the on-hit kind of thing.
It's true.
You just creepers it out because it's just a generic, which is a non-attack. It doesn't have to be a Rune Blade attack for creepers. But it doesn't buff the attack, which a lot of the other ones do that we'll go into, right? So it doesn't buff the attack to provide any other on hits other than money. right?
Yeah.
It's very greedy card.
Yeah,
I see the
and talking about the number of coppers it does give,
Mhm,
I guess 4 seems to be the sweet spot here.
mhm.
So the yellow version would probably be the one that most people would run, presumably, just because
Yeah,
4 seems to be the magic number that a lot of cards trigger off of. So blue will give you 2, not really enough. So I think you'd want to run at least the yellows and maybe the reds if you did run this card.
yeah. I would definitely agree with the yellows. Also, like against Prism, they're yellows, I guess, for
That's
library, but
true.
mainly
Yeah,
because
yeah.
like as you said, from everything we've seen, cash in or really anything else, it's using the exchange rate, the
Yeah,
fab exchange rate,
the
as they say.
bric-a-brac. Yeah.
Yeah, the 4-2-1 for copper, silver, gold seems to be the thing, and so it's not a particularly easy win con. I mean, it has potential. It's kind of cute. It's more cute than substance at the moment.
I think so. Yeah.
Uh, we gave it a 2.5 average out of 5, so it could be a 3 in some decks if more cards interacted with the copper. But at the
Yeah.
moment, we're looking at about a 2.5.
Yeah.
Pretty average card. So we're gonna get into a couple items here. Items have been a very mixed bag. I feel, with some being absolutely question mark to others being kind of pog. So we're going to start out with the first one here we have on our list is Amulet of Havencall. What a super weird item. Blue zero cost item. I think they're all zero cost that
Yeah.
we've seen so far. Has go again. Doesn't block. In the D-react stage, you can destroy it and get a Rally the Rearguard to add to the chain link as a defending card. You can only use it if you have no cards in hand. So I'm like, wait, you've given Rally the Rearguard support? Like I'm just
Yeah.
kind of like thinking about it. I'm like,
It's
this card
very
is actually
random.
sort of reasonable. I thought it was reasonable to have against Prism to pop the Spectra, right? Because if you grab a red Rally in the chain link,
Oh,
it becomes a defending
good
card, and you
point.
end up just popping it, right?
So you
Because
can
it's still
use this
defending.
for key moments where you really have to break their spectra. Um,
The issue is, the issues are, I should say, that you have to have no cards in hand.
yes.
Kind
Yeah.
of awkward. So you
So
likely already have blocked with your whole hand. You're doing maybe wizard things on their turn, or you've already pitched a block with reactions, none of which are nearly as good as just having a 6 power to pop a Spectra, right?
yeah,
That's
exactly.
just that's just better.
And I mean, we can also talk about the fact that if you have no cards in hand, you can't even use Rally the Rearguard's instant ability to get an
Hmm.
extra
Yeah.
defense. So you're basically
No.
just kind of calling a 3. Is it 2 block or 3 block for Rally? I think it's 3, right?
Two. It's
It's a
a two
2.
block.
Okay.
The
Yeah.
ability gives it +3, but
That's
the
it.
actual
Okay.
card is a 2 block. Yeah.
So you're calling it a 2 block basically as at an instant or sorry, defense reaction here.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I was okay with this until I saw the no cards in hand. I just feel that that
Mhm.
limits it so much. Um, would it even have been that broken if it didn't have that restriction? I don't think so.
Yeah, because I mean, Rally the Rearguard is just not. I never
Like
saw
you have
it
to
as really
play
more
it.
than a limited card. Yeah, I
Yeah.
really didn't see it more of a limited card. I did kind of try to think about it from like a Levia perspective because you're getting rallies out and into the graveyard,
So
so
you're
it could be
helping to
tech.
fuel more your grave more.
You're helping to feel
Yeah.
the 6 powers for the red, so you're using it as a D react, and
Mm,
then you get more guaranteed 6 powers in there. And
yeah.
then I also thought in that case it's just better to have it in hand because then you can literally get 2 6 powers out, or you can get like a 6 and then a 6 that doesn't block and use it with Rally the Rearguard, like a brute
Yeah.
card, 6 power doesn't block, and
But
then you can
then
use it with a Rally the Rearguard you actually block with, right?
yeah.
So it's like not as good. So the issue is you can't use that effect. You can grab it with Knick Knack. That's
It's
cool, I
true.
guess. I
I
kind of
mean,
like the design. Overall, I think we gave it a
I
2
think
for
it's
average.
interesting. At least
I
it's
think
interesting.
I honestly could have given it a 1.5.
Yeah.
I gave it the 2 just because I see some interactions.
Yeah.
Even now I'm thinking about it. It's a soft 2. It's a very
Right.
soft
It's
2.
generous too.
It's like the brie of 2s.
Yeah.
It's very spreadable. Um,
Yeah.
so we're looking at we got a couple more cards for this video to kind of end
Hmm.
off our part one. We have another item. This one's a little bit more promising. Talisman of Featherfoot. So
Mm.
this is a yellow zero cost with go again. Doesn't block, of course. When you attack, uh, so when an attack you control gains exactly +1 in the reaction step. Very important to
Yes.
note. In the reaction step, destroy it. Another important point is not it's not a may. It's not a you may. You destroy it. You have to use it. The attack gains go again. So if it already has go again,
Wasted.
No, wasted. So at first glance, there are cards that gain +1 the reaction step. So Blue Warrior attack reactions, Iron Song, Out for Blood, whatever.
True.
Blue Razor Reflex, Breaking Scales, Ancestral Empowerment, Beacon of Victory, Lunging Press, Singing Steel Blade, Art of War. There are a lot of cards
Yeah.
that do give +1. However, you know, it creates some interesting possibilities that I think will feel most at home with Warrior decks like Bolton and Dorinthia to enable wider turns.
Right.
So like Dorinthia uses Singing Steel Blade to get over attack, right? And then they can just grab Twinning with Reprise off the Singing Steel Blade instead of something like grabbing Glint to gain Go Again, because you don't need the Go Again anymore,
Right.
because you have this item to give it Go Again. It also helps by saving Bolton Soul charges, as Soul's very precious, right? So you won't have to activate Bolton's ability, give something an attack reaction if it has higher than base, right? Because that originally was the kind of idea. So now in this case, you've given it +1, but you don't have to use Bolton to give it Go Again. This thing will give it Go Again for you. Katsu generally has more easily accessible Go Again. However, it'd be for like enabler cards like Ancestral to give a card Go Again for free. That
Ancestral
doesn't already have
seems pretty nice. I saw that kind of combination. It was like Ancestral gives you a card, so it cycles itself +1, and then you can gain the Go Again. So you play it ideally on a card that doesn't have Go Again. So maybe some of those like middle parts of the combo lines that don't necessarily have Go Again.
Yeah, it kind of turns into like a Glint at that point, right? Because like Glint without needing to reprise. That's essentially kind of what it turns into.
That's true. Yeah.
So what is interesting based on the wording, as long as you have any reaction that buffs it by exactly 1, it'll have Go Again. This makes attack actions more relevant in general in Dorinthia, right? And possibly more generic attacks in Bolton. The main issue, though, it doesn't block, obviously, as well as there's no choice on whether you want to give it. As I mentioned before, you want to give it Go Again. So you have to avoid proccing it. You can just use kind of your priority and your order to use the attack reaction, which may lead to some awkward turns. So it's more of a setup card in that kind of regard, right? So it doesn't work super well in aggressive decks that really can't take a foot off the gas. Like if your strategy is really like keeping tempo and not giving it up, this card might not be what you're looking for. It might be like something you side in if you're going first, maybe. I'm not even sure if that's good. Seems decent with creepers if you defend with a card, right? Because you can bring that out, activate it, play a talisman on their turn to get it out of hand.
Right.
That's something you could do. Or attack that's like kind of difficult, or on an attack it's kind of difficult to play Malvrian Sky. Essentially, is like the correlation card. I brought it. Like Malvrian is a easier version of this card, right? Yeah. But Malvrian only works on Runeblade cards, right? So it's not amazing, but I think it's something that could be explored. It works with Firebreathing too. So that's like if you buff Firebreathing
itself by 1, pop this, and then buff it more with Firebreathing. I assume you can.
Yeah.
Buff
so
it
you
once,
essentially. Yeah. So as long as you do it in reaction step, right? So if you use Firebreathing effect in the reaction step, you can use this to give it Go Again. So there are things and stuffs that you can do. We give it a 3 average. Just kind of right down, not slightly above right down the middle, but still very much average. All of it is subject to change, of course, but that's kind of how we see it. So we just mentioned the card. Moving into Firebreathing, a bit of a homage to Magic the Gathering. Firebreathing, also a card in Magic. So very interesting. I very much like the art, actually. For some odd reason, I think it's a really cool looking card.
It's very colorful.
It's a very colorful red 2-cost generic, 3 power, 3 defense, attack action. The ability is the interesting part, right? As an instant, cost 1, Firebreathing gains +1 power while attacking. Right?
Yeah.
So immediately, very nice card to dump your extra resources, where there weren't a ton of alternatives focused on this particular card type, right? So only one that I think of is Exude Confidence.
Right. And that one was in chunks of 3, not in pitch stacks of 1, basically. You have to go in increments of 3 for that card. So not ideal if you have like 2 floating resources where you have to put them somewhere, right?
Possibly Shock Strikers, but it's more restrictive. So it's mainly Exude Confidence. So the 2 cost gives good synergy to like Pummel. It's definitely more of an endgame finisher.
Yeah, it's true.
You can manipulate any on-hit effect with this card, since it's very, very hard to block out in the defense step. Like you come in with this card from Arsenal or whatever, and you have like 2 or 3 cards in hand, and you have an on hit that you attach to it.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to be able to like predict how much to block to like stop that on hit. So if you
It's
really need to
so
get something
hard.
off,
Yeah.
if you really need to get something off, this card will get it off more
Mhm.
likely than not. I think
Yeah.
that it's other than the pummel, which is kind of funny. As an instant, also you can get it after the D-Rex from the opponent, so
Yeah.
you can do it at the very last step. So that's nice being an instant there.
Exactly. Yeah,
And
and I mean, even if the opponent could try to predict how much you're going to be buffing it by, you can just choose not to buff after. So it's like, yeah, defend with your 9 block. I just won't pitch anymore. It's okay.
mm-hmm.
Give it go again
Yeah.
somehow and keep going. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like it's more ideal if they kind of dumped whatever they could, and it is what it is. But if you need to get the cards out of your hand, you'll always be able to get the cards out of your hand, right?
Yeah.
So at minimum, so it's great for hand fixing, right? For heavy blue draws that weren't really needed. So at minimum, you can turn a 3 blue hand in this into an attack for 10 on like an off turn.
True. Yeah.
Nothing to sneeze at, right? You pitch a blue, you get this thing, you have 1 floating, you have 3 more.
3 more blues. So that would kind of go up
no.
to, that'd be like 11. Sorry, that'd be 12
you'd
damage,
have-
correct? That would be.
You'd have 9 resources from your 3 blues, and then you'd pay 2 to get it out. So you'd have 7.
So you have
left,
7
so then
floating.
plus
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking Arsenal, but you wouldn't really want to waste that. Yeah.
Yeah, so if it's from Arsenal, then you got 3 more, right?
Then you
so
got
that's
yeah.
quite good. So yeah, as I said, it's kind of like if you have a nice on hit, very good card to push it through. Generic goes in any deck. Good card for like Merchant if they need something. Dream Generic is fine. We gave it a 3.5. Good.
Yeah, just being a
it's just
generic
a good
card kind of gives it that power, not power creep, but like that kind of additional power slot that other cards can't achieve, just because any class can run this. So if there's any on hits that a class really has to hit, this might be an option. And if it's a heavy blue deck as well, this would be a lot stronger.
I agree. Rolling into the last card here that we're going to talk about in part 1, probably the strongest generic that we've seen so far in the set. Bingo.
Bingo.
I
People thought
I'm
this
not
was
a-
going to be a hero. I remember people seeing the
it's
picture
not-
like, what hero is this?
It's on the damn poster. We thought it was the Dash Carnival slot. I was like, please
Dash.
God, no.
The hair color fits, I think.
Yeah, I not a super big fan of the art on this card. It is a majestic 1 for 5. Red card, 3 block, generic attack action. If it hits a hero, they reveal from hand. If it's an attack action, bingo gains go again. Non-attack, they draw a card. If it's an instant or a D-react, nothing. Overall, it's a good on-curve aggressive card. 1 for 5, potential go again, or a draw card, right? Probably nicer in decks such as like Katsu Chain, Aggro Viscera, Briar, where there's ways to get go again outside of the card via attack reaction. Razors, the ancestral talisman combo we mentioned before, Art of War, things like that.
Yeah.
Briar token, like Briar embodiment, creepers, things like that. I think that it because it's so on curve and very, very good value, I think it's good in like Briar channel mount builds, like channel mount heroic builds, possibly in like a blossoming spellblade build that can gain action points. It could be a good sideboard card into decks that if they have a lot of a certain card type. So if you're playing into Kano, pretty much everything they have is going to be a non-attack action.
You can
right?
pretty much, exactly.
Yeah. And you can play knowing that you're probably going to be drawing that card, so you need to give it go again.
Right.
Some way if you want to keep going.
Because otherwise, if you gave it go again, you might actually waste the go again if it reveals an attack action card, right?
Exactly. And you know what? If they decide to just take the damage, reveal a D-react or an instant from hand, that's totally fine. I'm fine with them just like taking 5. That's a lot of damage, right?
Yeah.
So I think the best thing about the card is the flexibility, considering it blocks for 3.
Right.
And it still gains knowledge from the reveal, which could be nice with any reveal mechanics, or it could be nice just knowing a card that they have in their hand that they're coming back with on their turn. Like if it's a Dory and they have just like a bunch of reactions, and they have a specific reaction, that could be super valuable information, right? So I feel like even there it's good. You still get the damage across.
I think this card actually has quite a few parallels to E-Strike. If I'm looking at it, E-Strike is a 0/5 attack that blocks for 3, whereas this is a 1-costed 5 attack that blocks for 3. You can think of the card that E-Strike puts in the bottom of your deck as a 1 cost, I guess, if you're putting a red at the bottom. But the fact that this has costed 1, I think is better than putting a card to the bottom of your deck. Because if all you had was a blue card in your hand for E-Strike, you're kind of wasting 2 resources there because you're kind of over pitching for it. But for Bingo, you could pitch the 3 and then play Bingo and have 2 floating. So that's what Pro Bingo has over E-Strike. But the other thing that and also it works with like an E-Pot. Like you kind of pop E-Pot to play Bingo, that could work, but it wouldn't work for E-Strike. But Bingo's effect, because it's random, it's less consistent than E-Strike, because E-Strike you can pick to draw a card or gain Go again, which are the 2 choices that Bingo has. And Bingo lacks the third option. It can't gain +2. So it would have been nice if they gave Bingo the +2 if you reveal like a D-React or something. That could have been cool to kind of really mirror E-Strike in that way. But they chose, just to give it 2 abilities. So I think it's comparable to E-Strike. E-Strike still, I think, takes the cake because you can choose the ability that you get. And it'll depend on what hand you have, right? If you already have Go against sources, you don't want to be revealing an attack action with Bingo. So I think it's a cool option, really well statted. 1 for 5 is great, but the randomness might make it harder to play, in my opinion.
No, it's true. Overall, we gave it a 4. It's just a good card overall. It's
yeah.
If like E-Strike's a 4.5 or a 5.
Yeah, if
like,
E-Strike, E-Strike is cream of the crop, right? So
yeah,
comparing it to E-Strike is pretty flattering.
Yeah, especially for what it does. Like I think it's a good card at what it's trying to do. So appreciate everyone for watching. That is part 1 of like whatever 5, 6, 7 kind of.
We'll keep going until spoilers keep coming out. Yeah,
exactly. So that's part 1. Feel free to comment, like, subscribe if you enjoyed our content. Check us out on Spotify and Twitter. These videos will be on Spotify later on for your listening pleasure, along with the viewing pleasure you had today. And from wherever you are, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, I guess, and see everybody in the next video. Bye for now.